Hello parents, welcome to day 7 of the 8th day Get Set Parent Children's Literature, Art and Music Festival in association with Vishwara. I really hope you've been enjoying the last 6 days. In case some of you have missed some sessions, all you need to do is log on to this channel, Get Set Parent with Pallavi, go to the playlist which says Children's Literature Festival and you'll find all the shows that you have missed. So you can watch them anytime and how many ever times that you like, all right? So today we have 3 exciting events lined up for you. The first is a Goend art session. It's a tribal art form and we have Akanksha who's going to do a workshop for us. The second is a very interesting storytelling session and an interaction with Mr. Ashok Rajgopalan, who is the author of the famous Gajapati Kulapati series, apart from many other children's books that he's written. And finally, we have an exciting theatre workshop by Helen O'Grady International, who are reputed for their workshops in theatre for children. All right, so let's jump right into today's sessions. But before that, please subscribe by pressing the bell icon to stay notified with all the updates, and also follow me on Instagram and Facebook so that you and I are in complete tune with what I'm doing. Hey kids! So today's first session is going to be a Goend art workshop. So Goend art is a tribal art form and it is inspired by nature and it allows for freedom from ants to grass to trees to deer to butterflies. There's a whole world out there which can be captured by the very unique art form called Goend. So to take us through it, we have Akanksha Nemani from Artlinks. She's an arts enthusiast and loves getting into different new art forms and practicing them and teaching them to children as well. So I hope you enjoy this. Let's go and look at a demonstrative session. You can draw along, you can pause the video later on as well, and you can do it at your own pace. Let's go through a Goend art workshop now.
Thank you, Pallavi, for introducing me and inviting me to be a part of the Children's Literature, Art and Music Festival. I am very happy to be a part of this event. Today's workshop, we are going to be learning about the famous traditional folk art form of India called Goend art. So it's a traditional art form that has been practiced across India in the villages of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa. So most parts of central India. It's like how, for example, Varli has been done in Maharashtra. Goend art is an art form that is being done in these villages in central India. Goend is also one of the largest tribes in India. So it's one of the largest tribes, and the word Goend actually means green mountain. So from the word green mountain, you can understand that Goend art is all about nature. And everyone in the villages, they have continued to paint things that they see in nature. Traditionally, Goend art many years ago was done on the walls of, the people's homes, on the mud walls of people's homes as a way of decorating their homes. Goend painting also depicts various celebrations, rituals, and our relationship with nature. So, all the paintings that you see of Goend art are mostly of things that we see in nature. So, birds, animals, fish, scenery. For example, if you look at this picture, this is of a peacock. So, it's a traditional art form and they mostly painted things in nature. This, for example, is of a fish. So the artists now, how would they make their paints? Many hundreds and hundreds of years ago, we didn't have paint bottles, we didn't have paint tubes. So they would make their paints for Goenka art from nature, from the things that they see around nature, from natural colors. For example, they would get black from charcoal. They would get pinks and oranges from flowers. They would get green from the leaves. They would get white color from rice powder. So that's how they would kind of make all their pigments. They were all natural pigments. They would make their colors. And the beauty, now the most famous, the most important thing about Goenka art is that all these artists used patterns of dots and dashes to make their pictures. So if you see very closely, you will be able to see here that inside the fish, they have made patterns using tiny dots and small dashes. If you see very closely, if you look at here, if you see here, these are dots and dashes and dots. They would make patterns using only dots and dashes. Can you see? You have dashes, you have a line of dots, and then you have dashes and you have a line of dots. Similarly here, another example of dots and dashes would be this picture. So this is of a reindeer that the artist has painted. And if you look very closely here, you will see that all of the semicircles are made of tiny dashes. They are all small dots and dashes. If you look at this picture here, these are two elephant heads, and if you see the patterns they have used are three dashes and three dashes everywhere. Three dashes, short lines. So all their art was done using different patterns of dots and dashes. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So I have my cutout of a bird. You could take any cutout you like. You can draw any cutout of any animal or bird or fish. This is a cutout of a bird that I have. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be painting the bird in different colors, and then we're going to be creating patterns on it using dots and dashes. So let's start with, first I have the bird here. I have the bird here. What I'll do is divide the bird's head. So this becomes the head. Okay. I'll divide the bird into 3 or 4 different parts. Okay. The head, the wings, and the tail. So you see I've divided the bird into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. Okay. And then we use some paint. We can use poster paints, acrylic paints. I have a box of paints here that we can use. And I'm going to start painting the different parts of the bird in different colors. So now I'm going to take my color and paint the first part, which is the head. You can take any color you like. Here I've taken a yellow and I paint the head. Do a nice layer of paint. Then let's take a red for the wings. Only till the part where we have divided. Then I take pink for the other part of the wing. Then I take some dark blue for the tail. And some green for the body. So now here you see is my cutout of the bird has been painted, and I'm going to let it dry for some time before we start doing the patterns on it. I'm just going to keep it down, let it dry for a few minutes, and then we can start with the patterns. So now that my bird has dried up, I'm going to use these Fevicryl color liners. They come in various different colors. They are just outliners in different colors. So I'm going to be using a few colors of these to make my patterns. Now, if you watch me very closely, I'll show you. So now let's start with the head of the bird. I'm going to just make an outline for the head, and the pattern that I will use is 1 dot 1 dash, 1 dot 1 dash, dash dot dash dot. So we can make various different patterns in this. Now for the other parts of the bird, let's use a yellow. Let's use a yellow here and create this outline. And the pattern I will use here is dash, dash, just long dashes. Okay. This is one row of dashes. Then I'm going to do one row of dots. Then again one row of dashes. It's like literally holding a pen, okay? And one row of dots again. So you can make any pattern using dots and dashes, because that is what Goenka art was all about. Then again one row of dashes and one row of dots. Now for the other part of the bird, I'm going to take my red liner and we'll create another pattern here. So here I'll just make the outline first. And now the pattern that we can do here is dash, dash, dot, 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 dash, dash, dot, 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 dot. Can you see very closely? It's totally up to you what patterns you would like to use. If you want to practice, you can take some patterns, practice them on a sheet of paper before doing it on your cutout. So two dashes, then dots, then two dashes and dots. Again two dashes and dots. So here I've just added some yellow dots also to make it look a little brighter. Now we move on to the body of the bird, and I'm going to use another color liner and let's see what pattern we can do here. So here I'm doing dashes, then another row of dashes, so horizontal dashes and vertical dashes. One row of horizontal dashes and then a row of vertical dashes. So my this part is complete, and now we move on to the last part, which is the tail of the bird, and I'm going to be using a green. So always remember, if you have a dark color base, you use a light color liner so that your liner design, your patterns stand out. Here I'm going to be doing this pattern. of dashes. You have to be very patient, you have to do it very slowly and calmly. And this, and then we can fill it in with some dots. So my bird is ready. Here you see is our very own Gond art bird. It's a lovely piece of art, and you can use this, you can hang it, you can stick it on your fridge with a magnet. So it's something that you can use at home, and it's a wonderful piece of decoration. So we are also now, I will be showing you different patterns that you can make for Gond art using dots and dashes. And before I start that, I want to explain you what a pattern is. So now a pattern is something that repeats itself. So something that you make in repetition. So you have supposing two dots and a dash, two dots and a dash. That makes a pattern. So anything that you make in a sequence and you keep repeating it, that becomes a pattern. So as you know, Gond art used lots of patterns using dots and dashes, so circles and lines. So today we'll be exploring different patterns that you can make using dots and dashes and circles and lines. You can make any of these patterns with felt pens, with color pencils, with the 3D liners that I used earlier. And all you need to do is first have an outline of the shape that you're going to paint. So you can take a shape of any natural form. So be it a flower, be it a bird. We painted a bird earlier. So it could be a flower, it could be a fish, it could be an animal, it could be anything, is inspired by nature. So today we are going to make a outline of a fish. I'll show you. So I'm just going to, so this is my outline of the fish. I'm going to make my, comes the head. So that's my outline of the fish. And now we will start making the patterns for it. So the one pattern we can make, first I make the eyes here. So the one pattern that I will make here for the fins, I would like to make using curves. So I'm going to do a small semicircle, a bigger semicircle, and another bigger semicircle. Similarly, small, big, and big. Small, big, and big. Then I start in the middle. Small, big, and big. You just have to keep repeating this pattern. Wherever you find the gaps, you can repeat this pattern. So this is my first pattern. Now for the second pattern, I am going to first make my outline here, and we are going to fill this with a different pattern of just small circles. Okay, just going to fill it with small circles. So the all the patterns used in Goenka art were small circles, lines, dots, and dashes. So that's why we are just going to fill it with. Now the third pattern for the fins of the fish are, we're going to be doing one more pattern for the fins, which would be I'll show you one more. and it would be a curve and lines in the middle. A curve and lines in the middle. A curve and three lines in the middle. Semicircle curve and three lines. Same way, a curve and three lines. A curve So these are your three patterns for the fins of the fish. Now let's move to the head of the fish. The pattern that I would like to do here would be simple line, line, dot, line, dot, line, dot, line, dot. So line, dot, line, dot, line, dot, line. So this is one pattern for the head, and now we make one more here, curved and sweeping lines in the middle. I cover this black. This is the eye of the fish. Now, the other pattern that we can look at doing for the body of the fish, which is till here, and then so for the body of the fish, we could do another pattern which is quite nice. We'll divide the body also into one more section, so we can do different patterns. Now for this part, let's look at doing another pattern which is crisscross. Okay, so it's actually not crisscross, it's actually we'll do mountains. So we have a diagonal line, another diagonal line, so triangles. Okay, we have another smaller triangle and another smaller triangle inside. They're all using small lines. And then we do inverted lines to make the inverted triangle. Finish this and we continue the same. So triangle inside of a big triangle and then a smaller triangle inside. Make your line here. Yes, and we do the same one more time. Triangle, small triangle, inverted triangle, inverted triangle, make the line. And here this is another pattern that we are doing using triangles. Then let's look at doing one more pattern for the body of the fish. Let's look at doing we're doing bigger curves now. And then we will fill this in with dot, dash, dot, dash, dot, dash. The more detailed you make your patterns, the nicer your image will look. Okay? So the more detailed you make your designs, and once we're done making the patterns, you could use color pencils and crayons to color them, to color the background, and that would complete your picture. So this is another pattern that we have done using dots and dashes. And now we move on to the fins of the fish. And let's see what interesting pattern we could do here. So I would like to do lines followed by smaller lines, followed by bigger lines, followed by smaller lines, followed by bigger lines. So just rows of lines. Okay. Similarly, this side. So these are the lines, and now in between the lines we can add some more detailing and make rows of dots as well. Just to give it more detail. So it's up to you how much detail would you like to give. You can also use different color felt pens to make different patterns so it looks colorful. It's totally your creativity and your imagination. So you can use different colors for different patterns. So here we go. This is our second version of Goenka art using different patterns, and here we've created a fish, So you can see here the different patterns we have done. And you can take any outline. You can make an outline of a flower, you can make an outline of birds, fish, fruits, trees, anything, animals, anything that you like, and create patterns of Gond art. So as you saw, we made patterns using dots, dashes, circles, and lines. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, Akanksha. That was really fun, and thank you for simplifying it for all our children. Now they will also be able to use their own imagination and create their own animals and scenes from nature using Goenka art. Thank you so much. So kids, stay tuned. We are going to come back very soon with a storytelling session by Mr. Ashok Rajgopalan. He's going to read and make all our children laugh. And after that, we're going to meet him and talk to him about how did he create these funny stories which have so many sound effects. So stay tuned and go for a quick break if you have to, but come back and wait for the next session by Mr. Ashok Rajgopalan. See you soon.